Hi everyone. Today I wish to speak on an important topic. Okay, I have my notes in front of me, so please excuse me if my focus shifts from the camera to here. In getting admission to any PhD course, it is very important that you find the right supervisor. The reason why it is important is the institute may be good or bad, but it is your supervisor that makes or breaks your PhD. This is my belief, and I would love to hear your opinion on this. Okay, so today I wish to take you all through certain steps, okay, which have helped me and which I'm sure will help you as well, okay, in finding the right supervisor for your PhD. Okay, so let's begin. First thing is to know yourself. What kind of person are you? Okay, do you need complete freedom when it comes to work, or do you want somebody to hold you accountable? Okay, what kind of person are you? Okay, first you need to establish that. Do you like a very structured approach, or do you like things to be free flowing? Okay, some people are very creative, they like everything very free flowing, whereas some, they like some sort of accountability. So what kind of person are you? Okay, first step is to know yourself. Okay, then only you can find other people who match you. If you don't know how you are, then it is not possible to find others who will help you in getting to your goal. Okay, are you research oriented, or are you more into academic? Okay, what kind of work do you like? Do you like more of field work, or do you like to work in the lab only, or do you like wet lab work, or do you like dry lab work? Like there are some fields like bioinformatics, it is a dry lab work. Okay, some fields like microbiology, you need to be into the lab. Okay, so what sort of person are you? Okay, are you more into academic reading and that kind of stuff, or do you actually like practicals? Are you a theory person, or are you a practical person? Okay, that you need to establish. So that is another criteria. Okay, do you like to participate in extracurricular activity? Because there are some supervisors which are very resourceful, so you will be exposed to a host of different things. Okay, and if you are not prepared for that, then it does not make any sense in choosing that kind of supervisor. So I feel you need to know yourself in terms of, are you academic oriented, are you research oriented, do you like to participate, do you like to attend workshops or no? Okay, that is another criteria. Second, do you need or do you wish to establish the rapport with supervisor? So what do I mean by that is, many of the times supervisor may not be into direct contact with you. Okay, they sometimes they are very busy, they communicate over to you over mail, or they will communicate to you over phone, or that kind of communication is okay with you, or you need the supervisor to be there in the institute where you are working, so that you can actually meet that person. Okay, so what kind of communication do you prefer? That is one thing. Okay, so these are some of the steps which will help you know yourself. Okay, and I feel the best way to know yourself is, after your masters or after your degree, have a work experience of at least 1 year. Okay, and I highly recommend it, because when you are studying, it is a totally different scenario. Okay, even if you may be very resourceful or participating in extracurricular activities, that is a total different game, ball game altogether, and job is a different arena altogether. Okay, so many of the times the theory part that you study, it may not always apply in practical life. Okay, so job teaches you how to be in practical life, and 1 year of experience, whether it be teaching or research or any kind of, even if it is out of your study area, that is also fine, but 1 year of job experience, in my opinion, is very beneficial before you go for PhD. Okay, that is one thing. So these were all the things that come under knowing yourself. Okay, now second is, what are your location preferences? Do you wish to do PhD in your hometown? In that way you will have access to your hometown, because PhD on an average it takes around 4 to 5 years. Okay, some people finish earlier, some people may finish late, but on an average it takes around 4 to 5 years. So is that, and that time period you will have to stay away, or if you are okay with that. So if you are okay with staying away, then you can look for institutes or universities which are outside your zone. Okay, then, or are you trying to go abroad? Because many people say that PhD is best done outside our country. This is the belief of some people, but what are your location preferences? Or you may restrict or shortlist certain states. Like when I was trying for PhD admissions, I had shortlisted, I'm from Goa, so I had shortlisted Maharashtra and Karnataka as 2 states, along with my own state. So I was looking for PhD opportunities in these states. So what are your location preferences? Pan country or certain states, or you want to do it abroad? That you need to decide. Okay. Second, expenditure. Critical. Okay. Wherever you work, I am talking about Indian scenario, wherever you work, if you are on a fellowship, the fellowship remains the same whether you are in your hometown or whether you are outside your hometown. So if you are outside your hometown, then the accommodation and all those expenditures need to be taken into consideration if you are having your own fellowship. And even if institutes offer their fellowship, it is generally on par with the independent fellowships like UGC. Okay, so you need to take this into consideration. Many of the times what happens, we go for fancy top institutes which are away from our homes, but then the expenditure also increases in such cases, because you are away from home, you have to pay for accommodation, you have to pay for several other things. So you need to consider all these things before making a decision. Okay. Then, now I am talking, this is for UGC fellows. It takes some time, even if you are on UGC or CSIR fellowship. Once you get admission, it takes a time, okay, quite a time to get your fellowship. So does the institute provide any advance? Like I'm a UGC fellow. I got my first fellowship after 3 months of joining. Till then I didn't get my salary. So does your institute or university have the facility of giving advance to students when they don't get their fellowship, which is of course deducted when you receive your fellowship from UGC. Okay, that you need to consider. So these are some of the things, and these are very critical. research and all is very fancy, but then if you are not equipped with the kind of finances to face it, it can be very stressful. Second, know the potential institute. Okay, first you have checked all the locations. Say suppose I have shortlisted Goa, Maharashtra, Karnataka. Okay, then check on Google which are the institutes which are falling in those particular areas, and what would be your area of interest. Okay, in the first step, know yourself. You must have got a certain clue about which kind of area interests you. Okay, so based on that you can shortlist institutes and potential supervisors. Okay, if you are doing job, or if you are doing if you are having work experience, then take email addresses of potential potential supervisors or of people. You will get contacts at times, so then you will get to know. So that will also help you to reach out to those people. Also, if in those institutes there are some conferences or there are some workshops going on, then please attend it. Okay, even if it does not involve directly meeting with your potential supervisors or anybody else, it will help you to get an idea. Okay, that is what I had done before taking admission to the institute. I had actually attended a 3-day conference over here, so that gave me an insight into it. In 1 or 2 days you can't know much, but still it does give you an idea about it gives you some idea. Okay, now once you have shortlisted, okay, everything is shortlisted, you know who are the people you want to meet or work with. If possible, okay, this is not always possible, but if possible, meet them in person. Okay, meet them in person. Always it won't be possible, but in person, if you meet, that sudden interaction, that will tell you exactly whether you would want to work with this person or no. Okay, that vibe of the first interaction, that is the most critical. And if you plan out everything, if you email and if you then meet, fix an appointment and then meet, sometimes it becomes, things turn a little artificial. So let it stay natural, and if possible, meet your supervisor in person in your first visit. Okay, afterwards you keep mailing, that is not a problem. Okay, second, every time it may not be possible to meet the supervisor in person. Okay, so what you can do cold emailing. Cold emailing means you take all the email addresses and you send emails to all the prospective supervisors. Many of the times they don't see that email. Sometimes they will see, they will not reply. Sometimes they will see, they will reply. Like I was applying for one fellowship a few years back, and I took email addresses of all the faculties and all the researchers in the institute. I emailed everyone. Hardly one person replied, but then he had already retired from there, but then he gave me another contact, which helped me. Okay, eventually it is a different thing that things didn't work out, but then sometimes this emailing also works. Okay, so in person you meet, try to meet. If not possible, cold emailing, mass emailing to several people at the same time. Okay, so these are some of the things that you can do stepwise to get good supervisor. I would say supervisor is getting the right supervisor is more critical than getting the right institute. Okay, because even if you are in an institute where the instrumentation and facilities is low, if your supervisor is resourceful, then he will arrange for uh, he will somehow help you to get your work done in other institutes. Okay, but if your supervisor is not good, then how much ever instrumentation and all facilities are good in your institute, you will be under constant stress. And PhD is a very resourceful and creative, I would say, phase of a student's life. Okay, so and as in it gets stressful as the days pass. So I would say, if you are if there is a tie between getting the right supervisor and going for the right institute, go for the one where you are okay with the potential supervisor. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say. Second thing, many of the times I have seen students, they go for researchers or professors which have many awards and honors to their credit, which is a good thing. Okay, it is good to have a supervisor with high academic credentials, but as a student, your main focus should be whether that person is approachable or no, because you will be having several small doubts and you should be able to ask that to the supervisor. Okay, and many of the times those professors or researchers who have high academic credentials, they are always busy. Okay, and sometimes it is difficult to find time for discussion. So these are the things that I wanted to highlight, and just bear that in mind, that I would say approachability should be the focus, and approachability and resourcefulness should be the focus, and academic credentials, they should be good, but these two, first what I said, these two, they should be the focus when you are finding the right supervisor for your PhD. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say. I wish you all the best in your journey for finding the right supervisor, and stay tuned for more.